On the morning of her husband's funeral, Evelyn Carter felt something wrong inside her bones. Not grief, not fear. Something else. Something she didn't have a name for. The Memphis sky hung low and heavy as she stepped into the quiet chapel. A thin draft brushed past her coat, carrying the sharp scent of lilies. The air felt tense, like the room was holding its breath. Her right hand trembled. She tucked it inside her coat pocket, pressing her fingertips into her palm. "Hold it together, Evelyn." But the flutter in her chest refused to settle. The chapel lights buzzed softly, flickering just once, like warning her. At the front of the room, bathed in a dim yellow glow, was Marcus Ellis Carter's casket. The polished mahogany reflected her face back at her, a face lined with grief, years, and something else she wasn't ready to admit. She reached out and placed her hand on the lid. Cold. Unnaturally cold. Behind her, crack. She spun around. The funeral director, Mr. Hawkins, stood stiffly by the wall. His hands shook as he held a folder, and sweat glistened along his hairline, despite the chill inside the chapel. When he noticed her looking, he dropped the folder. Papers scattered across the floor. Sorry," he muttered, voice cracking. He knelt quickly, gathering papers with trembling fingers. Evelyn watched him. He kept glancing nervously at the casket, mumbling small, panicked prayers under his breath. "You sure you're all right?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am." The words came too fast, too thin. Then he wiped sweat from his temple again. It was 49 degrees in the chapel. Evelyn's stomach tightened. Pastor Green approached gently. "Mrs. Carter, should we wait a bit longer? For your children, perhaps?" Her children. Her chest tightened. Her son Derek had texted. "Big meeting. Can't miss it. Sorry." Her daughter Janelle left a 5-second message. "Mom, you know I'm away. We'll do something personal later." They always had reasons. Always. "No," Evelyn whispered. "Let's begin." Pastor Green nodded. But just as he opened his Bible, a sound whispered from behind the casket. Not a creak. Not settling wood. A slow shifting. Like something heavy repositioning itself. The hair on Evelyn's arms lifted. Mr. Hawkins stiffened where he stood, eyes widening before he quickly looked away. Pastor Green paused, throat tightening, but forced himself to continue. "Today, we celebrate the life of..." Another sound. Fainter this time. A dragging whisper. Evelyn swallowed hard. That sound reminded her of Marcus's last night in the hospital, when he had whispered things she forced herself not to believe. Not the tapping. And room 214. And once. Don't let them. Nurses said he was hallucinating. But hearing this now, her heart pounded. A lily slid free from the bouquet atop the casket and drifted downward, making a soft papery flutter before landing on the lid. It settled directly over where Marcus's heart would be. Evelyn's breath caught in her throat. Then the chapel door creaked open. Slow. Reluctant. As if pushed by someone unsure they should be here. She didn't turn right away. She felt the person before she saw them. A quiet step. A pause. A held breath. She finally looked. A young man stood in the doorway. Hoodie pulled low, shoulders hunched, jeans worn at the edges. A faint scar cut across the corner of his mouth. His eyes were dark, rimmed with exhaustion and something else, fear. He slipped into the last pew, keeping his head down as if hoping no one would notice him. But Evelyn noticed everything. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. His breathing was shallow. His gaze flicked up toward the casket, then toward her. Each time their eyes almost met, he looked away too quickly. Pastor Green spoke on, but his voice sounded distant. Evelyn kept glancing back at the young man, and each time, he seemed a little more distressed. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, hand pressed to his scar. His lips moved as he whispered something too soft to hear. Then, the pallbearers arrived. They lifted the casket. The stand beneath it gave a long groan. And this time, the coffin vibrated. Not a shift. A vibration. A deliberate, single tremor. Evelyn gasped out loud. Her breath stuttered. Her cane slipped slightly, and she had to grip it hard to keep her balance. Mr. Hawkins let out a small, choked sound. He stepped back and whispered a prayer so fast it came out a rush of syllables. Evelyn forced herself forward. As she reached the end of the aisle, she passed the pew where the young man sat. He suddenly looked up, right at her, and Evelyn felt the air leave her lungs. His eyes were glossy, almost terrified. His fingers pressed against his scar like he was steadying himself. His chest rose and fell unevenly. Then he whispered, "Not yet." Evelyn froze. Her breath hitched. A tremor skated down her spine. Her heart hammered so hard she felt it in her throat. "What did you say?" she asked, voice shaking despite her best effort. His eyes widened. He shot to his feet. For a second, he took one panicked step toward her. But then something in him recoiled. He shook his head violently. "No, not yet," he muttered again, barely audible. Then he turned and bolted out the side door.
Gone.
Cold air rushed in behind him. Evelyn stood shaking for a moment before forcing herself to continue outside. The cemetery was quiet. Too quiet. Gray sky. Crooked stones. A wind that never touched her skin but somehow made her shiver. She watched the casket lower into the ground. The ropes creaked. The coffin shifted slightly as it settled into the dirt. The moment it touched the bottom, a faint metallic clink sounded.
Soft.
But unmistakable. Like a key hitting stone. Evelyn's knees weakened. She grabbed the metal railing for balance, heat rising behind her eyes. 53 years, Marcus, she whispered. And this is what it comes to? Her voice cracked. She let it. Slowly, the cemetery emptied. When she turned toward the parking lot, her stomach dropped. A white envelope was tucked under her windshield wiper. Her breath caught. She approached carefully, scanning the area. Nothing, no cars, no movement. Her name was written in shaky ink. Evelyn. Hands trembling, she opened it. A note. And something taped to it. She unfolded the paper. "He didn't die the way you think. They lied. Don't trust them." Her pulse roared in her ears. Her eyes dropped to the object taped beneath the words. A small rusted key. A faded yellow tag attached. Room 214.
A date.
And Marcus's signature. Evelyn's entire body went cold. She stumbled back a step. The key nearly slipped from her fingers. Her breath came out in fast, shallow bursts. Sweat chilled on her forehead. "Marcus, what did you know?" she whispered. She slid quickly into the driver's seat and locked the doors in a single frantic motion. As she pulled out, she checked her mirror.
Clear.
Until she turned down her street. A dark sedan eased into view behind her.
Slowing.
Following. Matching her pace. Its headlights blinked once. A silhouette shifted in the driver's seat. Evelyn's hands tightened on the wheel. Cold sweat gathered at the back of her neck. When she pulled into her driveway, the sedan rolled to the corner and stopped. Engine murmuring. Lights off. Watching. She hurried inside and locked both bolts. Her hands shook violently as she reached into her coat pocket and pulled out the key. And then her stomach dropped. The faint red smear on the tag
Was no longer dry.
It glistened.
Wet. Fresh.
Evelyn stumbled back a step, heart pounding so hard it vibrated through her chest. Her fingers slipped, and the key hit the floor with a sharp metallic ping. She stared at it, at that fresh red smear, feeling dread bloom in her gut. Because whatever this was, it wasn't finished. And someone out there didn't want her opening room 214. Evelyn locked the front door once, then twice, then a third time. Her fingers fumbled on the deadbolt. She wasn't sure whether it was from the cold or fear. When she finally stepped back from the door, her breath came out in uneven waves. The key still lay on the floor where she had dropped it. The small tag attached to it glistened faintly under the hallway light. She stared for a long moment. It wasn't just a stain. It wasn't just a smear. It looked too fresh. She crouched, joints aching, and picked it up using a folded tissue. Even through the fabric, the metal felt heavier than it should be. Evelyn carried it to the kitchen and set it on the table. She sat down slowly, trying to slow her breaths. "Think, Evelyn," she whispered. "Just breathe. Think." But her thoughts tangled together. The stranger in the hoodie. His whisper. "Not yet." The casket's vibration. Marcus's final muttered words. Room 214. The sedan that followed her. The envelope. The red smear. She pressed a hand to her forehead. "What were you trying to tell me, Marcus?" Her phone buzzed sharply on the counter. Evelyn flinched. She reached for it, glancing at the screen. A message from Derek. "Hey Mom, meeting ran late. How'd everything go?" "No, are you okay?" "No, I'm sorry I missed it. Just formality." She typed slowly. The service was quiet. She hovered a moment, then added, "It would have meant something if you were there." Her thumb shook over the send button. She deleted the second sentence. Typed again. "I managed."
Send.
A second later. "Glad it went smooth. I'll try to call later."
Try.
She set the phone down. Another buzz. A photo from Janelle, her face glowing under sunlight at a spa, a cocktail in her hand. Caption. "Thinking of you guys today." Evelyn's lips tightened. "You guys." She flipped the phone face down on the table. For a moment, she closed her eyes. The house felt too still again, but she forced herself to breathe through it, grounding herself. She reached for the kettle and filled it halfway, setting it on the stove. A simple task. A familiar sound. The burner clicked on. Flames whispered beneath the metal. This tiny moment of normalcy eased her chest just enough, until a memory cut through her like a cold blade. Marcus, frail in his hospital bed, eyes barely open. Not the tapping. Room 214. "Don't let them." She gripped the edge of the counter. "Marcus," she whispered. "What happened to you?" The kettle began to warm. The soft hum soothed her. Until... knock. Sharp. Unexpected. Too soon. Evelyn froze. 3 seconds passed. Knock. A beat. Knock. Her breath stilled. She crept to the front door, stepped silent, staying low. She peered through the peephole. Nothing. No person. No shadow. Just an empty porch. She cracked the door an inch. A cold sweep of air slipped in. Then she looked down. A white card sat on the doormat. Her stomach dropped. She picked it up with trembling fingers and flipped it over. One sentence written in the same shaky handwriting from the cemetery note. "We need to talk." Her spine prickled. She turned the card over. On the back, only one initial. A. For a brief second, her heart lurched. "Andre?" She blinked hard.
No.
Andre's handwriting was smooth, organized, neat. This was rushed and uneven. Her pulse eased, but only slightly. She locked the door again and returned to the kitchen. She placed the card next to the key. Both sat there like accusations. She sat down, chest tight. "Who are you?" she whispered. "And what do you know?" Her eyes shifted toward her phone.
Andre.
He would believe her. He always had. She typed. "Andre, can you come by tonight? It's important." She typed it twice before she had the courage to send it. 3 dots blinked. "On my way soon." Relief flooded her chest. She took a slow breath. Andre would make her feel grounded again. He always did. She picked up the key, turning it gently in her hand. "Room 214, she whispered. The tag's faded numbers caught the light. October 17th. 3 days before Marcus died. Her stomach twisted. That was the night they moved him. The night they refused to let her stay after 6 p.m. The night the nurse told her, he needs rest. She swallowed hard. "What happened at 4:37 a.m.? She murmured, seeing the faint numbers on the back of the tag. She didn't have time to think further. A car engine hummed outside. Her blood ran cold. Andre wouldn't arrive for another 20 minutes. She walked slowly to the living room window. She used one finger to pull the curtain back an inch. Her breath hitched. Across the street sat the same dark sedan. But this time, its right headlight flickered once, then died again. The silhouette inside shifted slightly. A shoulder, a turn of the head, watching her house, watching her. She stepped back from the window, pressing a hand to her chest. The house felt smaller somehow, as if its walls were closing in. She turned off the kitchen light, then the hallway light, then the lamp. Darkness swallowed the room. She listened. Silence. But not empty silence. Something tense beneath it. Evelyn stood still until her phone buzzed again. She almost didn't look, but she did. A new message. From an unknown number. Don't go to room 214 yet. Her breath trembled. Another message came instantly. You're not ready. Her grip on the phone slipped. She swallowed hard, fingers shaking. Then a third message arrived. He didn't want you to die too. The phone slid from her grasp and hit the floor. The sound echoed through the dark house. Evelyn steadied herself on the counter, but her hand slipped on the smooth surface, and her body jolted. Her breathing turned shallow. Marcus, dear God. She shut her eyes tightly. Someone knew about the key. Someone knew about room 214. Someone knew what Marcus feared. And that someone was watching her house. She forced herself to move to the window again, 1 inch at a time. The sedan's driver's side door was now open. A shadow stepped out.
Tall.
Broad-shouldered.
Slow.
Deliberate. The figure paused at the edge of the yard, his head tilting toward her living room window, as if checking if she watched. Evelyn backed away immediately. Her heart jumped into her throat. She heard footsteps now, heavy, uneven. Was that a limp? A dragging foot? The steps moved along the side of her house, toward the backyard. Then, a slow, heavy knock on the back door. Evelyn's breath froze. Her hand clamped onto the counter again. The knock came a second time. Then a voice.
Soft.
Raspy. Unsteady. Mrs. Carter, please don't scream. Evelyn's knees buckled. Her grip slipped fully from the counter, and her hand struck the edge with a dull thud. She stumbled back, because she knew that voice. It was him, the young man from the funeral, the one who whispered, "Not yet." The stranger stood at her back door, and this time he didn't sound dangerous. He sounded terrified. Evelyn pressed her back against the wall, breath trembling in her chest. Through the thin glass pane, a shadow moved closer. The young man's voice broke with desperation. "Please, if you open the door, I'll tell you what he was trying to warn you about." Her heart pounded as his silhouette trembled. "And you have to hear it before they do." For several long seconds, Evelyn didn't breathe. She stood frozen in the dim kitchen, the faint glow from the hallway barely enough to shape the outline of the counters and cabinets. Shadows pooled in the corners. The air felt heavier than moments before, as if the house itself knew someone stood at the back door. "Mrs. Carter." The voice came again, softer, raw around the edges. "Please don't scream. I need to talk to you." Her pulse thudded once, hard. She forced her throat to open. "How do you know my name?" Silence. A shift of weight on the porch boards. His shadow moved just enough to make her grip the counter tighter. "I knew your husband," the stranger said. "Marcus. He told me things. Asked me to find you if anything happened." Her breath stilled again. She stepped forward on stiff legs. "You were at the funeral." "Yes, ma'am." "You followed me home." "No," he said quickly. "That car wasn't me. I don't drive. I couldn't follow you even if I wanted to." A cold chill rippled down her spine. So there had been someone else watching her. Evelyn inhaled slowly, trying to steady herself. "Back up from the door," she said. "I'm not opening it while you're standing right behind it." She watched the shadows stretch backward, farther from the glass. He lifted his hands where she could see their faint outline. "I'm back. I'm not moving. You can leave the chain on." Her hand trembled as she unlatched the bolt, but she kept the chain hooked and cracked the door an inch. The man outside looked younger than she expected. Mid-20s. Hoodie damp from the cold. Dark, tired eyes, the faint scar at the corner of his mouth pulling downward whenever he swallowed. His fingers were red from the cold. His breath puffed faintly in the chilled air. Not a threat. He looked like someone who hadn't slept in days, maybe weeks. "Who are you?" Evelyn asked. He swallowed hard. "My name's Amari." She repeated it silently. "Amari." "I worked at St. Luke's," he said. "Night shift. Transport. Sometimes I was on the floor where Mr. Carter was. Sometimes his eyes flicked past her shoulder into the dark kitchen. Sometimes where I wasn't supposed to be." Evelyn's heart clenched. She tightened her grip on the door. "You left a note on my windshield," she said.
And a key.
"You've been watching me." "Only because he asked me to," Amari said quickly. "But the texts? The messages from that unknown number?" He shook his head. "I swear on my life, those weren't me." Her stomach twisted. "Then who else knows?" she whispered. His voice dropped. "Someone who doesn't want you anywhere near room 214. The kitchen seemed to shrink around her. "Why didn't you talk to me at the funeral?" she asked, her voice sharp despite the tremor in it. Amari exhaled shakily, his breath fogging in the cold. "Because I saw that car. The same one parked outside your house. He was there at the cemetery, too. Far corner. Engine running. Watching." He shook his head. "I recognized him."
How?
Evelyn asked. "He's been outside the hospital before," Amari whispered. "Always in the car. Never going in. Always watching the side entrance where we bring patients down late at night." A shiver spread through her bones. "Who is he?" "I don't know his name," Amari said. "But I know he works with them. Because he looked right at me the night Marcus made me promise something." Her throat tightened. "What promise?" Amari lowered his eyes. He lifted a folded paper through the gap in the door. The edges were worn, crinkled, handled too many times. "I should have given you this earlier," he said, voice breaking slightly. "But I got scared." Evelyn reached out and took it, her fingers brushing his for the briefest second. His skin was ice cold. She closed the door to the chain again before unfolding the paper. The handwriting hit her like a blow to the chest. Marcus. It was Marcus.
Eve.
"If anything happens to me, don't believe what they say. Ask about room 214. Ask what happened at 4:37 a.m. Trust the boy. Name
Amari.
He knows more than he thinks."
M.
Her breath left her in a shaky gust. Her knees wobbled. For a moment, the paper blurred. She touched the signature. "Marcus," she whispered. Outside, Amari shifted, nervous, cold, scared. When did he write this?" she managed. "The night before they moved him," Amari said. "He asked me to hide it. Told me not to give it to anyone but you. Not staff. Not family. Just you." Evelyn's jaw clenched. "And you waited," she said, voice firm. "You waited until today. Until after I buried him." Shame flickered over his face. "I know," he said softly. "I was afraid. People who get close to that wing, they get reassigned. Or fired. Or worse." His voice dropped to a whisper. "One nurse went missing for 3 days, and when she came back, she quit mid-shift. Didn't even pick up her last paycheck." Evelyn felt a cold pit open in her stomach. "What is room 214? She asked. Amari swallowed hard. "It's part of the restricted wing." "The wing they said was under renovation?" He shook his head slowly. "That's only during the day." She felt her heartbeat in her ears. At night, Amari's eyes darted toward the darkness behind him, then back to her. At night, the cameras on that corridor malfunction. Every single one. And patients from other floors are rolled there for, his voice faltered. Special procedures. That's what they call it. Special procedures. A darker chill slid down her spine. Evelyn forced her voice to stay steady. "What kind of procedures?" He hesitated, then said quietly, "I've seen patients come back with marks they didn't have before. Bruises in identical places. Thin burns on their collarbones. One man woke up screaming about something cold under his skin." Evelyn's hand flew to her mouth. "They sedate them early," Amari whispered. "Hours earlier than normal. Too early. And only certain patients, the ones with the right insurance or the right doctor signatures. Her breath trembled. And Marcus? She asked. Amari nodded once. They moved him down that same hallway, he said. I was the one pushing the bed. He was awake. He grabbed my wrist. Hard. Told me to look for the key. Told me to find you. Evelyn's throat tightened. And you found it taped under the bed rail, she whispered. Amari looked startled. How did you? Because that's exactly what Marcus would do, she said softly. A long silence filled the space between them.
Heavy.
Electric. Darker than before. A faint vibration buzzed the kitchen counter. Evelyn turned. Her phone lit up with a new message. Unknown number. Her pulse quickened. She picked it up with trembling fingers. A photo of her kitchen window, taken from outside. She could see her own silhouette inside, and Amari's shadow by the back door. The message below it read, 2 of you now. That complicates things. Evelyn's skin crawled. Amari leaned closer to the door, face pale. What is it? Before she could answer, headlights flashed at the front of the house. A car slowed.
Stopped.
Her heart leapt into her throat. Then her phone buzzed again. Andre. Just parked outside. Coming in the front. Relief washed over her, but only for a moment. Through the peephole, she saw Andre walking toward the porch.
Backpack on.
Hands in pockets. But he paused once. He looked toward the corner of the street. Evelyn's breath caught. There, beneath a dead street lamp, sat the dark sedan. Engine off. Lights off. Driver's silhouette visible only as a darker shape in the darkness. Andre stared at it for a beat, then hurried to the door. Evelyn let him in quickly, locking the door behind him. Grandma, he asked, are you okay? Why is the house dark? And who's outside? Come to the kitchen, she said. I need to show you something. When he saw the key, the note, and her expression, his face changed. Serious. Focused. What's going on? He asked quietly. Before Evelyn could answer, her phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. A new message. 3 people, and only one of them is telling the truth. Andre read over her shoulder, eyes narrowing. Grandma, who the hell is texting you? Evelyn looked at the message again, heart hammering. 3 people. Amari.
Andre.
The unknown watcher. And only one trustworthy. Her hand trembled as she whispered to herself. Which one of them wants me alive? Evelyn felt the weight of 3 shadows pressing against her life. One terrified boy at her back door. One beloved grandson standing inside. One silent watcher in the dark outside. And somewhere between them all, the truth Marcus died trying to leave her. A truth locked behind room 214, waiting for her to be brave enough to open it. The kitchen felt darker now. Not because the lights had changed, but because something in the air had. The night pressed against the windows like a living thing. The house creaked faintly, a tired, warning sound under the weight of what was being brought inside it. Andre stood between the hallway and the kitchen table, shielding Evelyn from both Amari and the unseen world outside. His jaw was locked tight, muscles working as he processed everything. Grandma, he said steadily. Who is he? Evelyn exhaled slowly. He says he worked with your grandfather. He brought this note. Marcus trusted him. Andre's eyes flicked to the back door where Amari stood, shoulders hunched, hands visible, posture small. A kid carrying fear like a second skin. And he's the reason you went outside tonight? Andre asked. No, Evelyn said. Someone else messaged me. Someone else watched us. Andre's expression sharpened. So we've got 2 strangers involved. One inside, one in a car.
Great.
He moved closer, shielding Evelyn slightly as he studied Amari. You said Marcus trusted you, Andre said. So prove it. Amari nodded once, slowly, and slid his phone across the table. No hesitation. No panic. Just resignation. Check it. Andre unlocked it with the code Amari provided and scrolled through recent messages. No unknown numbers. No photos. No threats. Nothing sent to Evelyn. Nothing suspicious. He set the phone down. Okay, he said quietly. So that part checks out. Amari's shoulders sagged just a little, like someone loosening the first knot in a rope around his lungs. Evelyn gestured toward a chair. Sit down, baby. Amari obeyed immediately. Andre remained standing. The key sat between them on the table, its metal reflecting the low light. Small, cold, merciless. Evelyn leaned forward slightly. Start from the beginning, Amari. Why did Marcus trust you? He rubbed his thumb against the fabric of his hoodie. I worked night shifts, he said. Transport. Sometimes they'd send me to floors I wasn't assigned to, quiet floors. The ones where they said the lights were glitchy or the scanners didn't work. They always say that when they don't want someone watching, Andre muttered. Amari nodded. Your grandfather was moved around more than most, he continued. Tests at midnight. Late scans. Early sedation. He didn't like it. Kept saying no one would explain anything. Evelyn's heart clenched. That's true, she whispered. He said they were keeping him in circles. I thought he was just tired.
He wasn't, Amari said.
And he wasn't confused either. Andre folded his arms, eyes narrowed. So, what happened at 4:37 a.m.? Amari swallowed, throat tight. A code blue went off, he said. From room 214.
Loud.
Screaming loud. Echoed down the hallway. We ran. Me, 2 nurses. But before we reached the door, he hesitated. Someone canceled it from inside. Evelyn froze. They canceled a code, she repeated. Amari nodded. The panel said resolved. But we hadn't even gotten there. And when we reached the door, it was locked. We heard voices inside. Calm ones. Like they were in the middle of a meeting. He rubbed his hands together. They opened the door after a minute. Dr. Morrow was there. The night specialist. He told me to return Mr. Carter to his regular floor. Evelyn's breath hitched once. Andre noticed. His eyes flicked toward her quickly, worry flaring and then smoothing away. A subtle shift. Just enough for a viewer to wonder. What exactly did he notice? And why avoid reacting too strongly? Evelyn didn't think about it, but the camera would. What condition was Marcus in? She asked. Amari looked sick. Too still, he whispered. Too quiet. His arm felt colder when I moved him. I swear I saw a mark near his collarbone, but I couldn't stop. The doctor was watching me. Evelyn's fingers tightened around the edge of the table. Andre took a slow breath. Okay, he said. Let's look at the digital record. If something happened, if something changed, it'll be in the system somewhere. He grabbed his laptop and sat down. His hands moved quickly, efficiently, almost too efficiently. Evelyn noticed the speed, but said nothing. Just a small flicker in her eyes. A tiny, fleeting thought. How did he learn to navigate hospital portals so easily?
Gone as soon as it came.
Evelyn slid Marcus's login info across the table. His handwriting trembled faintly from age and illness. Andre typed in the credentials. The portal loaded. They scrolled through the hospital charges. Page after page. Normal. Explainable. Ordinary. Then, Evelyn leaned forward, squinting. There, she whispered. Andre clicked the bottom entry. A faint hum from the refrigerator filled the silence. Low, steady, almost too steady, as though the house itself was holding its breath. The screen displayed. Time, 4:37 a.m. Area, 2R/214. Procedure, specialized cardio intervention, L3. Charge, $0. Status, voided in blood-red text. Evelyn's blood ran cold. Andre stared at it. What the hell? A floorboard creaked somewhere near the hallway. Just once.
Soft.
But enough to make Amari flinch and look over his shoulder. No one was there. Evelyn whispered. They said he slept peacefully. Andre tightened his jaw. Well, this says otherwise. A faint buzzing phone vibration made all 3 of them jump. Evelyn grabbed her phone. Unknown number. A new message. A picture. Taken seconds ago. The angle was from near the bushes outside the kitchen window looking in. Amari's back. Andre leaning over the laptop. Evelyn sitting in the glow of the screen. The caption beneath it. You're close. Too close. Andre tensed, leaning over Evelyn's shoulder. That's from right outside, he said. Whoever it is, they're not afraid anymore. Amari's voice shook. I told you. That's why I didn't come sooner. They watch. They listen. They don't want anyone talking. Evelyn felt her breath tightening, fear curling in her ribs. Andre moved to the front window again. Slow, controlled, but with a stiffness that wasn't there earlier. He peeked through the curtain. The sedan was still there, but the driver wasn't just a shadow now. A faint shape leaned forward, watching the house. Andre let the curtain fall. Grandma, he said softly, thinking. Can I ask something? Evelyn nodded. Did Grandpa sign anything before he went in? Anything unusual? Evelyn blinked. What do you mean? Anything like extra consent forms? Did someone say he needed to approve some treatment? Or upgrade a plan? Anything? No, Evelyn said, then stopped. I mean, I don't think. Andre looked at her steadily. Because if room 214 only takes certain patients, someone had to qualify him. A shadow crossed Amari's face. That's true, he said. They never take people at random. It's always the ones with the expensive insurance. The ones who signed long-term consent forms. Evelyn felt the bottom drop out of her stomach. He didn't sign anything like that, she insisted. Marcus would never. Then she remembered. Her breath caught. She remembered the night Marcus had asked her to go home and rest. How exhausted he was. How irritated the nurse looked. How rushed everything felt. She remembered a clipboard. A few quick signatures. Someone saying, it's routine. Her heart sank. I signed something, Evelyn whispered. I signed his testing authorization. They said it was paperwork for an insurance audit. Andre's expression shifted, not anger, but realization. And for just a fraction of a second, something else. A flicker behind his eyes. Suspicion? Worry? Guilt? Evelyn couldn't place it, but the viewer absolutely would. Then it was gone. Andre put a gentle hand on her arm. Grandma, they tricked you. That's not your fault. A quiet sound came from the porch, a soft metallic click. All three froze. Andre whispered, Front door? Amari swallowed. That sounded like the handle. Another click. Then silence. Evelyn's phone buzzed again. Unknown. If you go to room 214, you won't walk back out. Another message arrived instantly. He tried to expose them once. Look where that got him. Andre's voice hardened to steel. We're not backing down. Evelyn lifted the key from the table. Its metal felt colder than before, like something that remembered pain. We're not going tonight, she said, but we will go. With a plan. Amari nodded, though fear flickered behind his eyes. Andre reached for his backpack and paused. The front window glowed faintly. Headlights. The sedan's engine roared to life, louder this time, like a challenge thrown into the night. It rolled forward slowly, stopping directly across from the driveway. A rear window lowered an inch. Just enough to see a shape. Not enough to identify it. Evelyn's phone buzzed once more. When you reach room 214, it will be waiting. Her throat tightened. The house felt like it was shrinking around them. And yet, something in her spine steeled itself. Resolve. Anger. Love. She held the key tightly, its cold teeth biting her palm. Whatever waited behind that door had taken Marcus from her. Whatever watched from the street wanted her to stay afraid. But she wasn't afraid anymore. She was furious. Evelyn stared at the glowing message, her heart pounding with a new, burning clarity. Outside, the sedan's silhouette waited like a predator guarding a secret, its engine humming low in the darkness. Inside, 3 people sat around a key to a room no one was meant to enter. Room 214 was no longer just a locked door. It was a warning, a promise, a grave they hadn't yet opened. And as headlights cut across her window, Evelyn knew one truth. The only way out of this was through that door, or not at all. The house felt wrong. Not just quiet wrong. Like the walls were listening. Like the air itself was waiting. Evelyn sat at the kitchen table with Marcus's voided entry burning softly on the laptop screen. Andre leaned beside her, jaw tense. Amari sat across from them, elbows tight to his sides, like he was trying to shrink his shaking. Okay, Andre said, keeping his voice low. We need a real plan, not panic. Amari nodded, though the motion looked fragile. I can get you into the hospital, he said. But the restricted wing, that's different. Evelyn's fingers tightened around the room 214 key. How different? She asked quietly. 3 entrances, Amari said. 2 are for show. Cameras. Locked doors. Fake routes. And the 3rd? Andre asked. Amari looked down. That one's real, he whispered. A sliding door behind the supply hallway. No sign. No camera. Just a keypad and a badge reader. No camera? Evelyn repeated, feeling her stomach drop. That's why it's dangerous, Amari said. No records. No accountability. A faint scrape came from the window, a slow, dragging sound, like fingertips brushing glass. Andre's head snapped toward it. Evelyn flinched. Amari froze. They waited. Silence. Then the refrigerator hummed again, vibrating softly as if trying to cover the noise that came before. Andre exhaled slowly, then turned back. All right, he said. The badges. Night badges only, Amari said. After midnight, the system switches. Day badges don't work. And the code? Andre asked. Changes every week, Amari said. Only certain doctors get it. So we need a badge and the code, Evelyn said. Amari nodded. But there's a backup way, he added. A maintenance override. For fires. Andre leaned in. You know how to activate it? No, Amari said. But I know someone who does. Who? Evelyn asked. Amari twisted his fingers together. My uncle, he whispered. He works night maintenance. Andre raised a brow. And he's scared of room 214? Won't even walk the hallway, Amari said. He drinks extra coffee, so he doesn't fall asleep. He keeps his chain on his door, even in daylight. And once, he told me some doors weren't meant for living people. Evelyn felt the air leave her lungs slow and cold. Before she could respond, the laptop chimed. All 3 jolted. A new alert had appeared on Marcus's portal. File updated, physician notes addendum, 10 minutes ago. Evelyn felt her stomach tighten like a fist. They changed his file? She whispered. Andre clicked it open. The note was short. Too short. Rapid decline. Failed stabilization. Time of death. 4:39 a.m. No irregularities noted. Evelyn stared at the numbers, every muscle in her body going still. 04:39, she whispered. But the voided entry was 4:37. They're patching over it, Andre said. They know someone saw. A shift of air pressure rolled through the house, a soft, unsettling drop, like someone had opened a door silently, somewhere unseen. Amari swallowed hard. They know someone accessed the file tonight, he said. Logins are tracked. Evelyn turned the key in her palm, gripping it so hard the edges bit her skin. Andre closed the laptop sharply. That's it. We move. Now. To where? Evelyn asked. Andre's eyes flickered. Not guilt, not deception. Only a thought he hadn't said out loud. We find the uncle first. He knows more than anyone left alive. Evelyn hesitated, just a breath, then placed a hand on Andre's arm. When he looked at her, she didn't speak.
She didn't need to.
Her fear was visible, the unspoken fear of losing him the way she lost Marcus. Andre's expression softened for half a second, barely noticeable. He covered her hand briefly, just a touch, then pulled away, composed again. But the moment lingered. A quiet human pulse beneath the terror. Amari continued, unaware. We can't just show up to my uncle's place, he said. He hates unexpected knocks. Keeps the chain on even when he's awake.
Why?
Andre asked. He says people have tried to come in before.
3 times.
Always at night. A pause. He thinks they were from the hospital. The sound of that made Evelyn inhale sharply. Before anyone could react.
Thump.
A heavy sound came from the front yard. Andre moved instantly to the window and slid the curtain a centimeter. The sedan sat closer now. Much closer. Maybe 5 feet from the edge of their lawn. The driver didn't move. Didn't turn on the engine. Just sat in the dark. Watching. Andre's jaw clenched. He moved the car, he whispered. He's getting bolder. Evelyn stepped up behind him, her hand hovering near his back. Andre didn't move for a moment. Then he stepped away from the window. We're leaving now, he said. Back door. Cut through the alley. Evelyn grabbed her coat. Amari grabbed the laptop. Andre pocketed his keys. But before they reached the kitchen doorway, Evelyn's phone buzzed. Unknown number. Amari froze. Andre turned slowly. Evelyn lifted the phone. A single message. You're leaving the house. Good. Her breath hitched. Another message blinked onto the screen. Your next mistake will be your last. Andre grabbed the phone from her hand. That's it, he muttered. We're not waiting. A third buzz. A photo. Their backyard. Taken only seconds ago. Evelyn.
Andre.
Amari. All inside the kitchen, exactly where they stood. Andre's voice went cold. They're close. Really close. Evelyn's knees weakened. Amari whispered, he must be right outside the fence. Before anyone could move, a 4th message arrived. Don't knock on the uncle's door. The room froze. A final message appeared instantly. He already knows you're coming. Evelyn felt the truth settle like a stone in her chest. Andre stepped back, expression shaken. Is he warning us? He whispered. Evelyn shook her head slowly.
No.
She tightened her grip on the room 214 key. He's telling us the trap is already set. The enemy wasn't watching anymore. He was anticipating, predicting each step before they made it. Every path out had already been poisoned. Every ally turned into a question mark. Room 214 wasn't just the end of the mystery. It was the center of a plan designed to catch them the moment they moved. And now Evelyn understood. They weren't approaching danger. Danger was approaching them. The room stayed silent long after the last message appeared on Evelyn's phone. He already knows you're coming. That single sentence didn't feel like a warning. It felt like a presence. Andre stood still, jaw rigid. Amari's fingers trembled against his phone. Evelyn closed her hand around the key Marcus meant for her, the metal warm, almost alive. She drew in a slow breath. We're not stopping. Andre blinked hard. Grandma, it could be. They already know our fear, she whispered. They know everything else. I'm not giving them that too. Andre hesitated, then nodded. We call your uncle, he said to Amari. We don't go to him. We don't step near his door. Amari swallowed and dialed. The uncle answered on the 4th ring. A whisper, jagged with panic. Who is this? It's me, Amari said. UNC. I told you not to call me at night, the uncle snapped. They listen when it's dark. They always listen. Evelyn stepped closer, voice soft but strong. Sir, I buried my husband today.
Please.
Tell me what happened in room 214. The uncle didn't answer at first. Just breathing. Heavy, afraid, as if someone else were close by. Then he said, I warned him not to sign. Told him twice. But he said he didn't want to worry you. Evelyn's heart cracked. You knew him, she breathed. He was one of the good ones, the uncle whispered.
Funny. Honest.
Good men don't belong on that wing. Andre leaned forward. We need the override. Please. A trembling exhale. 3rd switch down on the fire panel. Code 1437. Andre frowned. Why that number? The uncle's voice softened into something hollow. Because that's when I heard it the first time 20 years ago. Same wing. Different patient. Same tapping. Cold flooded Evelyn's limbs. And do they do this to everyone? She asked.
No, he said.
Only the ones who qualify. The ones whose numbers match whatever cycle they're running that month. The word cycle hit Evelyn like a wound. Cycle. Not accident. Not rare. Systematic. Don't come here, the uncle whispered sharply. They know you're thinking about it. Then the line died. Amari lowered the phone slowly. Andre breathed out. We move now. Evelyn reached for him, not to stop him, just to hold on. Her fear slipped through for a second. Not fear of the hospital. Not fear of the watchers. Fear of losing Andre the way she lost Marcus. Andre saw it.
He softened.
Placed his hand over hers. We're together, he said. The drive to St. Luke's was a straight shot through a quiet night. Andre parked near the loading dock. No sedan in sight, but Evelyn felt watched anyway. The watching that came from high windows, corners, dark places where breath didn't belong. Amari led them through a side staff door. The badge blinked green. Inside, the hospital felt wrong at night. Too cold.
Too still. Too aware.
They walked fast. Stairs.
Hallway.
Another hall. The fire panel is on the east wing, Amari whispered. As they turned the corner, Evelyn felt a pressure shift in the air, a soft, unnatural inhale from the building itself. Andre felt it too. He slowed, scanning the walls. You felt that, right? He murmured. He didn't wait for an answer. He pushed forward. At the fire panel, Amari opened the metal door. Switches.
Keypad.
A red light pulsing like a heartbeat. Third switch down, Evelyn whispered. He flipped it. A muted clack echoed down the hall. Andre typed 1437. A green flicker lit on the pad. It worked, Amari said. They hurried down the narrow corridor. 2 fake restricted doors. Blank, silent decoys. Then the real hallway, windowless, signless, cameraless, ending in a single sliding door. The badge reader glowed eerily. Amari pushed. The door exhaled open. It was colder inside. Like the air had died hours ago. 3 numbers standing like warnings. Evelyn walked forward. Her phone buzzed once, she ignored it. She lifted the key Marcus left for her. Andre raised his phone, ready to record. Evelyn turned the key. A heavy metallic click rippled down the hallway. Andre pushed. Room 214 felt like a place meant to erase people. Too clean. Too quiet. Too empty. Evelyn stepped toward the bed. That's when she saw them. 4 carved scratch marks on the metal bedrail. Uneven.
Raw. Desperate.
Her breath broke, a fragile, cracking sound she didn't mean to let out. Her fingertips brushed the rail. Right where Marcus's hand might have scraped. Marcus, she whispered. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just a quiet breaking. Behind her, Amari's eyes glossed. Andre lowered his head. Amari moved to the large cabinet. Locked. Andre stepped in. I can. No, Amari said softly. Let me. A twist. A click. The cabinet opened. 6 folders. All stamped. L3 Protocol, confidential. Andre grabbed one. His face tightened. Too fast, too precise. He blinked rapidly, a reflex he couldn't hide. Evelyn felt something shift. Like he knew more than he should. Andre opened the folder. Marcus's name. Marcus's chart. Marcus's forged signature. Evelyn's knees almost gave out. That's not his handwriting, she whispered. He didn't sign this. They read the cold clinical lines. Procedure time, 4:37 a.m. Outcome, non-responder. Recommendation, standard certificate phrasing. No further inquiry. Cycle group, Q4. Risk margin, acceptable. Batch count, 22/60. 22 out of 60. A batch. A cycle. Marcus wasn't alone. He died alone, Evelyn whispered. But I didn't leave him alone in the end. Andre closed the file firmly. We have what we need. Let's go. Evelyn stepped back. A single metallic tap struck the wall behind them. Sharp. Intentional. Not mechanical. as if someone or something waited on the other side. Their blood ran cold. Then, fire emergency, East Wing. Fire emergency, East Wing. Red lights flared. Alarms screamed. Footsteps thundered. That's him, Evelyn breathed. Your uncle is covering us. They ran. Nurses sprinted past them. Security rushed toward the wrong doors. Chaos spread like fire. As they reached the exit, a motion sensor light above them flickered.
White. Red. White.
Andre froze. That sensor doesn't connect to fire systems. Someone else triggered it. Move, Evelyn snapped. They sprinted into the stairwell, burst through the side door, into the cold night. They didn't breathe until Andre's car was miles away. At home, Dawn crept over the table where they laid the files out. Amari sank into a chair. Andre rubbed his face, exhausted. Evelyn stood still, hand resting gently on Marcus's folder like she was touching him again. We're taking this public, she said. Every page, every timestamp. They don't get to bury him again. Her phone buzzed. One final message. You open the door. Good. The cycle never stops with one. Evelyn stared at it. For the first time, she understood. Marcus wasn't the end. He was the beginning. She powered off her phone. Let them come, she whispered. We're done running. She placed her hand on Marcus's file once more. He died alone, but I didn't leave him alone in the end. Weeks later, long after lawyers made calls and quiet articles slipped online, midnight fell again over St. Luke's. Corridors dimmed. Fake doors stayed locked. And deep in the silent East Wing, room 214 waited. Because as one family learned the truth, another patient, somewhere, was signing a form they didn't fully read. And the cycle watched, patient, silent, waiting for the next name.